The Ministry of Finance has proposed a license fee of 200,000 shillings on all car owners as part of the revenue measures to fund the 2021-2022 budget. Now, according to the State Minister for Finance, David Bahati, it is intended to streamline the transport sector by getting rid of illegitimate vehicles. The matter has attracted substantial uproar on the matter. To help us appreciate the matter more, we are joined by Patrick Tavazi, and he is Executive Director from the Center for Public Policy Research. Welcome to NTV at 1. Good afternoon.
The pleasure is mine, and good afternoon to our viewers.
Now, Patrick, we'll get right into it. There are several legal arguments for this ownership tax that have been brought up. The need to be able to tie all vehicle owners together. What do you make of it?
First of all, it is important to appreciate the need for government to expand the tax base, because as you realize, our projected tax revenue for the next financial year is about 22 trillion. Yet the budget finance sector is about 29 billion. If you added the loans and interest together, you're looking at the whole budget of 45 trillion. What it means, therefore, is that we have needs that need to be met in the budget, but we have a limited purse to finance the budget and the related matters. So, but the question that we need to address is why the 200,000? We need to appreciate that we had a similar levy before.
Yeah.
And in 2007, the then Minister of Finance, Ezra Suruma, in the budget speech of 2007, moved to abolish this road, more or less like road license tax. And the reasons he gave was that it was becoming extremely costly to administer this tax. It was riddled with a lot of forgeries, and it had become untenable. So what happened was that this tax in that measure lost about 80 billion, but the same was recouped under excise duty for fuel. In fact, fuel for diesel and for petrol rose by about 60% during that period. So the question of the day is, if we have been paying this tax indirectly, why are we then being told to pay a 200,000 on top of it? Does it mean that the tax liability that was imposed at that time of 62%, roughly about 250 shillings on one part and about 330 shillings, does it mean that it is going to be removed? So for a tax or for any levy to be very effective or to be said to be fair, it should be very important to take into account the issue of fairness, eliminate potential areas of double taxation, and I think for me, unless the Ministry of Finance does not clarify this position, what was there before, what was done, and why now this measure should be halted for now.
Well, you make mention of things such as double taxation, the fuel levy, but the benefits outweigh these arguments, and in terms of more revenue becoming available to offer services to Ugandans, there lies a bit of an issue.
Yes, there's an issue, but also need to understand that one of the reasons why the road tax, or perhaps the road license levy was abolished, was that it had become extremely difficult and costly to administer. One of the key principles, or one of the canons of taxation, is that a tax should be easy. The cost of collecting the tax should be lower than the tax that you intend to collect. So the question of the day should be, from 2007 and today, what has changed in terms of tax administration for a tax that you expect to collect from any other person who has a vehicle and for every year? But also, what is also very interesting with this proposal, again, is it is saying that by 31st of January for the year beginning, you should have paid this tax. And that if you default for any month from that time, you will be attracting a penalty of 200,000. So all that requires a discussion. We need to see the research that has been made by Ministry of Finance. We need to see if they intend to collect this tax, what mechanisms are they putting in place to ensure that they are going to be very effective, unlike the way it has been. But more importantly, are they addressing the fact that a mechanism of putting a fuel levy to to replace this tax was put in place, and to what extent will that be reconciled?
Okay, well, let's wait and see. We know that this conversation is only starting, and we're going to wait and see what the Ministry of Finance has to say about it. But for now, we're going to be taking a short break. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Patrick Katabazi. He is the Executive Director from the Center for Public Policy Research. We'll be coming right back with more on NTV at 1.